I've got something crazy for you guys. The video that I'm about to play shows a tornado, but okay, tornado, but what produced the tornado? A volcano, actually Kilauea in Hawaii with its 36th eruptive episode has produced that. And it's amazing. And you know, I have shown you volcanoes that produce lightning strikes, but what Kilauea has produced today, well, have a look at that yourself. And then let's talk about this. And I have several videos about this from different angles, because actually it looks like a tornado, but it is not called a tornado. It's actually something else. It's a volcanic vortex. So doesn't that look amazing? So it's something very unusual that was caught on camera there, because it really looked like a tornado is forming over the volcano. And for many, when I said that and they haven't seen the images, they said, yeah, that sounds like fiction. But this is real footage. It's not AI. And as I said, it wasn't exactly a tornado like we know it, formed by storms or being a storm. It's a volcanic vortex, also sometimes called a fire whirl or steam devil. Steam devil sounds really bad, but yeah, you could call that if you look at it. So let me explain what we're actually looking at, because this is the type of thing where if we don't break it down properly, guys, it turns into internet mystery nonsense really fast. So Kilauea has been in this phase of long-term unrest in the caldera for a while. And even when it's not actively erupting with large lava fountains, the heat from the ground and the gas escaping from the crater is still there, and it's extremely intense. There's lots of heat. So imagine you have super hot air that's rising up from the crater floor. And actually, with all these episodes, it has filled it up quite well. It has really changed the landscape. But we're talking about hot air, and hot air is rising fast. So now above that, you have cooler, more humid air, and it was a rainy day in Hawaii. And when that rising column of hot gas and steam meets that cooler air, then it begins to spin. Like just how dust devils form in the desert. And this is a volcanic devil. And if the conditions are just right, and they're just where today, that spin tightens and you get something that looks exactly like a tornado and is not a tornado. Because the key difference is a real storm tornado is driven by thunderstorm instability and wind shear in the atmosphere. But what we see here, this one's driven by volcanic heat and gas and really very localized turbulence above the crater. So we're not talking about a gigantic destructive funnel tearing across Hawaii. This was a vertical rotating column of steam, gas, and very fine ash coming from the volcano, rising directly out of the volcanic vent area. And these volcanic vortexes actually have a history. First of all, they're very rare. So we were very lucky that we have that on camera, but they're definitely not unheard of. And I've recently shown you a video where that happened at a wildfire. And we've also seen them in Italy at Mount Etna. We've seen them at Kilauea before, and especially when we have active lava lake phases. But the one that we've just had today stands out because it was very large and very well defined. So very impressive appearance. And it was formed when we saw that 36th eruptive episode. And yeah, Kilauea is never quiet, right? Even when it pauses, the magma reservoir beneath the summit is active, gas is constantly escaping, and heat continues to escape through cracks and vents, and the ground is still shifting and the pressure is still moving. So we can always have these kinds of heat-driven effects, and they can even happen without a lava fountain show display. Now, I want to give you a little bit of a background so that we see the bigger picture. Kilauea sits on one of the most active volcanic zones in the world. We have a hotspot underneath Hawaii, the Hawaiian hotspot, where a plume of hot material rises from deep inside the Earth's mantle, and it basically stays there. And over time, this plume created the entire Hawaiian island chain. This has all volcanic origin. And each island is representing where the hotspot used to be as the Pacific plate slowly slid over the hotspot. And Kilauea right now sits right on top of that heat source. And in the Kilauea summit region, especially at the Halemaumau crater, I know I pronounced that wrong, guys. I'm not perfect. Gases like water, vapor, carbon dioxide, and sulfur dioxide are constantly escaping from that crater. And these form plumes, haze, and sometimes very dramatic steam jets. And then when we have rainwater, it was a rainy day today, and it interacts with the hot rock below. Combine that with strong rising heat flows, then the air becomes unstable enough to spin like someone twisting a rope of steam into a spiral. And today's vortex was basically the atmosphere reacting to the volcano breathing. This is how we can describe it. Impressive spectacle of nature. It's not a sign of any bigger eruption or that any catastrophe is imminent or anything. But do not approach the crater edge. The ground is unstable there. And gas concentrations can be dangerous. And yes, these rotating plumes can contain ash and small particles that can be hazardous and not healthy to breathe. So you want to stay away from that thing. Do not play storm chaser. You know what I mean. But for us, just watching the video from our couch at home, it's a rare atmospheric volcanic interaction. That's what it was. And it's beautiful. It's almost poetic in a way when I look at it, and a beautiful display that Earth has given us. And of course, I'm on the pulse with you for this. So please ignore if you hear any reports that this was HAARP, proof of HAARP, or weather modification experiments or whatever. It was the volcano interacting with the conditions, let's call it the weather conditions around it. It's simply heat, gases, wind, and physics. So nature does not need help to look dramatic. It can do this by itself. If you want to support the channel, link is in the description. Thank you for your supers, for your comments, for liking, subscribing, and hyping. And thank you for clicking the video in the end screen, because I really should think you should watch one of these videos. It's crazy what Mother Earth is producing. So I see you in a second, hopefully. Bye-bye.